Hey out there, YouTube. Wake Angel 2001 here, and I figured I should do a quick little preamble before I get into this review because I wanted to share some opinions about this particular figure. Now, I'm a child of the 90s, so if you were to ask me which of my favorite Gundam series, which of the Gundam series was my favorite, I would come up with Gundam Wing. I've seen many Gundam series. I don't think I've seen all of them, but I've seen quite a lot of them. And call it nostalgia goggles because it was my first, or maybe some other thing because maybe it was the closest thing they had to like a Sentai team for them. But Gundam Wing, when all is said and done, remains my favorite Gundam series. And it has some of my favorite Gundams on it. Now, don't get me wrong. This design, this robotic samurai look that is the iconic Gundam thing is like this is probably the first thing people think of when they think of a giant robot, let alone a Gundam. And my personal favorite Gundam design is one from Gundam Wing, the Death Scythe Gundam. I don't know, like take that whole robot samurai aesthetic and just like give it the visage of the personification of death, piloted by a wisecracking New Yorker, and yeah, that's basically that's basically everything that I love about everything. Of course, although this is my favorite Gundam, it's not necessarily my favorite giant robot. If you ask me what my favorite Nemesis robot from the series was, that would probably be the Tallgeese. I mean, this thing looks amazing. I mean, it has a physically imposing size. Like, it's tall even among giant robots. It's in the name. Plus, with that crested helmet and like the big shield that it has on its shoulder, it has like a very Centurion look. It has a very authoritative kind of thing going on. So like this just seems like the robot that a noble warrior would pilot, you know? And if you ask me what my favorite mass-produced robot from that series is, well, I gotta show you this picture. Yeah, that was the Tauros mobile suit. That one's really cool. Like, it has that whole spiky thing. It almost looks a little bit like Death Scythe with all the spikes and the color scheme. Plus, it can turn into a shuttle. Like, so it's kind of a transformer, too. It has that appeal to it. But I had to show you that picture because, to my knowledge, there's no real toy of that thing. Like, for some reason, the Tauros has gone this long without getting an action figure or even a model kit. Like, I have no idea why. But, if you were to ask me what my favorite giant robot of all time, beyond beyond Gundam Wing, beyond any Gundam series, beyond any giant robot anything, like any Power Rangers show, any other cartoon like Gurren Lagann or Exo Squad, what my favorite giant robot, period, of all time is? It's the Leo. The mass-produced soldier suit from Gundam Wing. Like, this is, like, a lot of people, when they pick their favorite grunt suits, they're gonna go with the Zaku, like, from the original one. Robot Nazi kinda has a cool thing going for it, but no, this is, like, the perfect example of just like a big mass-produced soldier robot. Like, I love this thing. It is my favorite giant robot of all time. And I just wanted that to be out there before I actually got into making the proper review of the figure itself. So let's go. And here we go. The pure essence of the walking tank. The Leo from Gundam Wing, my all-time favorite giant robot anything. I absolutely love this design. I mean, there is no pretense here. This is make a tank a person. Like, make it, like, there is no unnecessary anthropomorphization. It is the anthropomorphization here. Like, it is in a humanoid shape so that it can function as a soldier while still being a big, heavy, armored vehicle. Like, it doesn't have anything that isn't necessary to its function. It doesn't have any fancy decoration. It doesn't even have a face. It literally just has a big camera eye situated right there. Like, they didn't try to make this thing look like samurai armor. They didn't try, like, you can probably argue that that looks a little bit like the lip of a helmet, but even then, it would serve the function of keeping sunlight out of the camera eye, preventing the mech from getting blinded. So, like, again, everything about it is pure function. There is no fashion to this thing whatsoever. Apparently, like, Leo, in the anime, Leos could be customized with, like, flight packs, or you can make space Leos with a thing you stick on the back. So I'm guessing this peg hole here is for an accessory upgrade set that's going to come out later. So I actually might get that because I do love my Leos. But it does come with this, which was the only part that was separate in the packaging that I had to attach. It's these are those little rockets, like, they would ignite to allow the thing to sprint. Because, like, you know, it's a big, slow tank mech. It can't actually run, but with a quick burst of speed, it could close the gap and, you know, for melee fight. Like, this is the pure ultimate essence of just what a mecha is. And that's why it's, like, it's my favorite. It is straight up just, like, this is, like, the default. Like, if you were to actually just picture a functional military mech, this is the first thing I would imagine, and then anything else would be added to it. Like, you want heavier firepower, you add guns to this. You want it to fly, you put wings on the back. You want it to be used for propaganda reels, you give it a face. But, like, this is the purest essence of what a functional military vehicle is as a humanoid thing. Like, and that is why the Leo is my favorite mecha out of anything. Not just Gundam, but anything. So let's talk about the action figure itself. Articulation is really good, and in the parts that feel limited, I actually feel like they would be limited because of lore reasons. So I feel like the little camera head is actually more articulated and expressive than it really needs to be. I didn't even really think of this as a separate piece on the show. I kind of thought like this whole thing was the head and it rotated, but apparently this is the head and this is all a collar. Here behind this roll bar is where the cockpit would be, and the shoulders are on they're on butterfly joints inside, and then there's a ball joint out here which has a functionality of a universal range. It has a bicep swivel, elbow that gets beyond a 90-degree bend, ball joint at the wrist that moves around. There is an ab crunch here, and it moves a little bit side to side. That's about as far as it goes before it stops, which is a little bit stiff, but again, like, this isn't supposed to be an acrobatic fancy mech. This is like a walking tank. The skirts get out of the way so the legs can move around, and this, I just accidentally popped one off. Oh, look at that. This kind of reminds me of the way the model kits are built. It just kind of slides on like that. The front skirts also move a little bit to get out of the way, so you can have the mech take a little bit more of a step forward. Yeah, it looks like the way they're attached, they bend like this. Would have been a little bit better if the skirt could bend forwards a bit so you can get a bigger step, because that's about as far forward as you can get. You can actually get farther back before it hits those rockets. But again, like, this isn't like a fancy let me run mech. Like, I've never seen a Leo do more than take like a normal stride, like when it's doing a military march. Like, the Leo is not supposed to be a super acrobatic thing. So that kind of leg range is actually more than it needed, which is still appreciated, but more than needed. The knee has it's double jointed, but even though it's double jointed, it only seems to be able to get 90 degrees. And there seems to be like a double ball joint for the foot. So you can like slide side to side, bend forward and backward. So you can like get a nice wide A stance for your awesome tank mech. And yeah, its posability is pretty great. It's not the most super posable figure I've ever seen, but it is as posable as you would expect this particular robot to be, if not a little bit more, so I'm very satisfied. And these things on the shoulders are a separate swivel from the rest, so like you can have the arm up like this, but then still have the armor in just the right spot, you know, like however it pleases you aesthetically. Like if you want it to be slightly angled upwards, or if you want it to be perfectly parallel to the floor, like you have options for how he looks. Aside from those little butt thrusters, there were basically 4 accessories: the Leo rifle, the beam saber, which this thing is like, wow, it's really long and it comes to a really thin point, and it's flexible enough that you don't accidentally snap it, but it doesn't feel rubbery. It holds its shape just fine. And the other 2 accessories are hands. One hand is sculpted to hold onto the hilt of the blade, which the blade is detachable from the hilt, and the other hand has a trigger finger sculpted in to hold onto the rifle. Swapping these new hands out should not be too difficult. Yep, you just pop the joint and then pop in the joint. Yep. They go in and come out just fine. Yeah, everything works really great on this thing. Let's see, can he... I remember... Yeah, there we go. The figure is posable enough to hold its rifle the same way that we would see them held in the anime, with one hand on this handle on the top. I'm guessing that's to prevent recoil, so that it can just kind of spray bullets around. Or you can have it single hand wheeled for when it's like it has to take out multiple, when it has to like you know how fighting works. Like you can, I'm just saying that it can effectively wield the rifle in good poses. And I can really only recall one time that I ever saw a Leo wield a beam saber in a fight was during the Gundam Wing movie, Endless Waltz, when Hiro was fighting off Wu Fei in the Ultron Gundam, and he was wielding the... I put the wrong hand on. And he was using a beam saber to fight Wu Fei, and credit to Hiro's immense skill that using a Leo he was able to fend off Ultron for even a few seconds and only lost one arm off his mech. Most people who go up against Wu Fei in a Leo, they don't last long. I think the longest fight a Leo put up against Gundam was, ironically, when it was Noin who tried to take on Wu Fei's own Gundam. Like, what was the name of it? He called it Nataku, but I think it was called the Ultron Gundam? Or, no, the Shenlong Gundam. The Ultron Gundam was the upgraded version of Shenlong. So, yeah, like Leos seem to have a record of being able to last more than 5 seconds against Shenlong, because by some hilarious coincidence, 2 of the most skilled pilots in the anime happen to get into them for at least a little bit. But now I'm just ranting. This thing is absolutely awesome. I know it's not a glamorous mech, but it is my absolute favorite because it's not glamorous. You guys may remember my Wake Angel mechs from the previous months. Like, the first one I made, the green one with the guns for hands, it was partially inspired by this guy. Like, I just wanted to make a big old tank mecha who would be functional as a tank mecha, but not really be fancy pants. Like, this isn't the mech that you would take to the USO shows to shoot your propaganda reels with. No, for that one you would want a Gundam that, you would want a suit that's painted up in a better color. Ironically, the Tall Geese would probably be good for that. Oh, but I'm just ranting more. Anyway, this has been my review of the Leo Gundam, Leo mobile suit. It's not a Gundam. And this is Wake Angel 2001, signing off.